When I was in high school, I started making what I call it painting, and I won a couple of prizes in that time. When I was there, I involved in damaging some Saddam's picture, I wasn't part of political parties or something. It just was like a stupid thing to do. I'm not regret what I have done, but I think it wasn't wise because it sounds simple, but it put your life in risk and even your family at risk. So it was a good excuse to leave. Otherwise, it will be, as I said, in your life in threat. I arrived to Reagan Airport, and my caseworker, the Iraqi guy, was waiting for me. And the moment we got to the cab, we were on our way to the hotel, my apartment in 16th Street. I told him I would like to go to art school, so he was just laughing. He's a very, very nice guy, and he's very funny, but he said he heard too many Iraqi when they get to stay, they want to go to school to study, and which is mostly they would like to go to medical school, law school. So I felt he dismissed all what I said. I started spending a lot of time making all these drawing and I'm talking about spending a lot of time comparing to my a friend. They used to just go and play soccer and do other things. Students who graduate from Baghdad University College, the art school, they never seen painting in person. We just see posters. So all these files in my head, just pictures of something that you, like painting, you cannot see, just a photo of it. And boom, here you are. I'm in a National Gallery Museum in Washington, D.C., and free. You just can go anytime, any day. And I was living in 16th Street, so I will walk every day. We just like you found yourself in Washington, D.C., look into the White House, and you have access to go to the garden at that time before September 11th. It was like a dream. I keep reminding myself this is real. So I came to DC, and all these paintings in front of me. I spent the first 10 days going back and forth to the National Gallery Museum every single day, just to look. I couldn't believe it. The sculpture, Matisse and Rodin in the street, in the garden. I remember Picasso and Modigliani in one room, 6-7 painting. I was shocked. Most of the time, each single painting has many ideas. Really interesting going after that. There is a fragment of different ideas, which is from different times. The hardest part, how to melt all of them and nail them down in one single paintings. Sometimes I use the color palette in a different way that people, when they address these issues, use them. So I'm aware of that. I use the different color palette. It's a very happy color palette because I do think the subject matter that I'm addressing is really heavy. So if I use another color palette, different or common color palette with cool gray colors, will put a lot of pressure and on the painting itself. So I think I will lose. It will be hard to communicate between the painting and the viewer themselves. I was really ready inside. Before I came here, I want to be part of this culture. I felt I belong to here more than I belong to where I came from. It doesn't mean I try to avoid where I came from, but it has a lot to do with my purpose of living. I want to do something that I cannot do. I felt I cannot do it in Iraq, which is have the freedom of saying what you want to say. It is very simple, cliche, but it's extremely important because we deal with it in daily basis. But you know, there is no other way to deny that I'm from Iraq, and I got affected with, like, I got so happy when I hear the good news from there. I get so sad and upset when I hear bad things going. But to be honest with you, I feel I belong more to the state.
We should keep the cloth underneath each of the paintings.
And it's really nice because all these details.
Yeah, it looks great.
And it's very, very small painting compared to the other. So I was even physically close to it. I built up kind of a special intimate relationship with it. With the details, I use also my finger. It's very close. Right now, we just like try to fix the details on the wall, make it ready, and we're gonna take the stuff on the ceiling, and yeah. So hopefully, we'll be good tomorrow.
Well, you know, when you talk about the war and destruction, I also think this idea of memory or being a witness, and you know, you could go back to Picasso, but I actually think someone like Leon Golub and Nancy Spiro, Leon Golub just passed away a few years ago, and Nancy Spiro is still alive, who are very politically motivated. Leon Golub made all these great paintings of the mercenaries, you know, basically always questioning American policy, and was really marginalized in this country because of his work. And so I think that Ahmed is in that history, clearly. I mean, actually the thing that he does that I also think will expand is he's really a draftsman, in a sense, more than a painter. And he's more of a graphic artist, more than, I think, than a colorist. Like Picasso was more of a colorist than Matisse. No, I mean, Picasso was more of a graphic artist, Matisse was more of a colorist. And I think, you know, Ahmed's work is driven through the drawing. And so that's why actually I think if you want to see where he's going to move to, if you look at his drawings, you'll see what the next painting is going to look like, because that's what was always happening. The drawings that he was doing when he came from Maine College of Art to Norfolk were kind of pre the paintings that he started doing later when he came to Yale. You know, and so then he started at Yale, those pastels, and the heads with a lot more graphic, and you can see the faces started to pull apart, and they kind of merged into the background, and then the paintings actually followed the drawings. And so, you know, the other thing was then he figured out ways to use the oil paint to kind of follow the pastels and to follow that. So I'm curious to see what the new drawings look like.
I always use the term, I marinate the idea, I let it just take itself, like for a long time. It's gonna come up anyway. So I do think my work, if somebody will look at my painting and they don't know the artist's name is Ahmed, has nothing to do with where I come from. I'm hoping in the next few years I will be able to build up my own vocabulary and my own, I don't want to say style, I hate it, but it's my own way or my own voice. So people will be able to communicate with the painting. They don't even need to know who did it.
I heard about him, I remember very well. I was in the Barbara Gladstone Gallery in New York, and I ran into a collector there. And she said, "Do you know this artist, Ahmed alsoudani?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, he's great." I saw the work online, and I immediately thought, "Wow, this is great." As a gallerist for him, my job is not selling the work. My job is helping build a foundation for his place in the art history books.
He worked around the clock. He used the resources at Yale. He was telling me, which I still remember, how he went to the library at Yale and pulled out Corky drawings for himself to study. Like, he was really kind of pushing himself to see all that he could He understood that his practice was building on people that were before him, and then he looked very fervently to the abstract expressionist masters and wanted to incorporate that in his work, but wanted to do it at a level that he felt really proud of. So he really spent a lot of time, and I felt that he was building on this kind of generation before him in a very unique way. He was able to bring his own language into it, his own vocabulary, and put it all together in this amazing kind of formal fashion.
I don't want to generalize that, but I do think it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're a designer, you're a painter, you're whatever. I know it sounds very cliche, but people, especially the expert, they can smell and they can feel the truth in your work. And that will communicate with them. And when you get that, I think you're in the right place. I have no doubt I say that many times in different places, different circumstances, and some interviews, people, they try to hide it or they just ignore my opinion. It's sad, but a lot of people, they don't like my opinion, but when the American troop get to Baghdad, it was one of the happiest day in my life. And I think it's very happy day for millions of Iraqi. And the war after that take a different direction. This is a complicated issue. But again, it's if you agree with the war or not, as if you're an Iraqi in exile, if you agree with that or if you agree with the war or not, it's you're involved emotionally with it. It's there, and the top of that, I feel I'm very lucky. I'm very happy to be part of the American society. So I already, in a very short period of time, I already adopt this place as my home. So it was a very difficult conflict for me, in individual level, I will say. I feel this is my home, and I knew I love it, and I'm very proud to be part of it. And on the other hand, you see the place where you're born, and then burning in front of you. So, and you like it, and you love your place where you come from. In a personal level, I don't know why I love it, but there is no logical reason, but I do. It's a natural thing. So it was a very, very tough, very complicated situation for me. Also, this is in the emotional level. At the same time, I was in school. I was studying art. So the guilt come another element. People dying, people fighting, and there is an Iraqi guy escape all these things, and here's in United States studying art. If you look to the surface, but most of the people, they don't know why I'm studying art. It's not because to be an artist that means you're cool, but I felt I do have this small tool that I express myself, and I don't know how to express myself other than through the art. So it also was difficult for me. All these things, it make my life literally like hell. But again, you have to go to work, you have to see people, you have to do your homework at school, and you have to pretend everything is okay. Because if you're suffering, if you're dealing with all these problems, it's not other people's business. But we do carry, as a painter, we talk, most of the artists, I think, they talk about their experience, life experience. And I do believe it's to be an Iraqi American and the certain, especially this time when the two countries in the war, It's very unique, but it's very painful.